modal verb. So it's just simply this. You take a regular tense, like the present continuous, and you put a modal verb in it. You take a regular perfect tense and you put a modal verb in it, and therefore it becomes advanced. You take the perfect continuous and you put in a modal verb, you add in a modal verb, and it becomes perfect continuous. So it's like an upgrade. You see what I'm saying? It's an upgrade.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. So if you want to upgrade your English, if you want to upgrade your structuring, you're going to put a modal verb. It's an upgrade. Do you need it? Not always. But if you put it, it just makes the thing so much better, you know? The three tenses that we had here you have on the slide, we have on the left, we have the regular structure that we get taught. And here on the right, we have the C1, advanced structure. So on the left, we have regular present continuous. For example, she has been taking calls. That's regular present continuous. But we put in a modal verb in between the subject and the auxiliary. You put in the upgrade. This is going to be your upgrade, right? You put in the upgrade to the in between the subject and the auxiliary here. And you have an advanced present continuous form. She may have been taking calls. Okay, she may have been taking calls. Then we have the regular present perfect. Regular present perfect, you know that it's the subject, the auxiliary have, and the verb in the participle. This is your regular subject, auxiliary, and the participle. Pay, paid, paid. And to put it in advanced terms, what we're going to do is we're just going to simply add the modal. In this case, the modal is could. He could have paid his internet connection. So here we put the modal in between the subject and the auxiliary, and we have made an upgrade. He could have paid his internet connection. For regular present continuous, we've got here, Lester is taking calls. This is regular, normal present continuous, but to bring it to a next level, we're gonna put in the upgrade, the modal verb, and after modal verbs, we need to use the verb in the base form. So here we have Lester could be taking calls, okay? So basically that's what we're talking about. We're talking about advanced forms. What is an advanced form? It's just simply upgrading your regular sentences by adding a modal verb. And that's just gonna create a new dimension to your English, okay? So that was last week. And let's move on to today's pronunciation class. Not last week, that was this week. This is our previous class.
2 days ago.
2 days ago, wow. All right, so let's talk about pronunciation of advanced modal verbs. So I'm gonna put up a slide here and I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail what the video was about, okay? And we'll practice a little bit. So here we're gonna put advanced modal verb pronunciation, okay? Advanced modal verb pronunciation. So what we're gonna do is we're going to have, I'm gonna put in a table here with 3 columns so we can practice. Okay, so this is what's gonna go on. We're going to have the contraction of the modal verb and the auxiliary have, and then we're gonna have a reduction of the modal verb and the auxiliary, and here we're going to have a participle. So what does it mean? That we're gonna talk in the perfect tenses, okay? So our participle will be a verb in the participle form, and the auxiliary will be the auxiliary have that we're using, okay? Now here, we're not gonna use has because the auxiliary is going to be after the modal verb. Remember that the modal verb is gonna be in between the subject and the auxiliary, okay? So bringing you up to speed on the structuring from last week, this is what we had for the perfect tenses. This is the structure. So we had a subject, the modal verb, the auxiliary, and the auxiliary is gonna be have, and the participle. So what could have Lester done to be in class today? He could have paid his internet connection. Here we have could, right? And it's in between the auxiliary. Notice that we have he but the verb, the auxiliary needs to be in the base form. Every time that we use modal verbs, after the modal verb, we need to use a verb in the base form. So here, it would be incorrect to say he could has paid. That wouldn't work. We need to use have, okay? So that's the structure, the constituents of this tense. But it's kind of tricky when it comes to pronunciation because native speakers will not always use regular, clear, slow English. I guess that's not going to happen ever. So it's very important for you to know the reduction so you understand what they're saying, okay? So having that in mind, we're going to have the contraction. Let's start with the affirmative contraction. So we're going to have would, would've, okay? How do you pronounce that? Would've.
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 Then we're going to have could've. Could've.
Could've.
Which is could have. Could've. Then we're going to have should've. Should've. Should've.
Should've.
Which is should have. Might've.
Might've.
Might've, which is the contraction of might have, right?
Okay.
Okay. So that's your regular contraction, and contractions are like what we're doing is we're contracting the modal with the auxiliary have. Okay. Now after this, we need to use a participle form of the verb. Let's say from the video, we have take, took. What is it? Taken. Another example would be, let's say, the verb meet. Meet, met, stays the same. We had the verb go. Go, went, gone. Exactly. And the participle form of the verb, let's say, do, did, done. Exactly. Okay, so regularly we would say would have taken, would have met, would have gone, would have done. Okay?
Okay.
Could have taken, could have met, could have gone, could have done. Should have taken, should have met, should have gone, should have done. Might have taken, might have met, might have gone, might have done. Okay? Obviously, the long form of this is going to be would have. Would have. Okay? You would have the long forms, right? So could have is the reduction of could have, not could has, but could have. Should have is the reduction of what? Should have.
Should have.
Exactly, should have. And might have, might have is a reduction of
might have.
Okay, good. So what's standing out here, and I want you guys to take away today, is the pronunciation. In our last class, we took away the grammar. But in this session, I want you guys to take away the pronunciation of both the contraction and both of the reduced form. Okay, so here we have the reduction of this. There you go. So let's practice a little bit. It's all about practicing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just like in the video. So what is the sound of would and have contracted? Would have.
Would have.
Would have.
Would have.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice modal verb and the participles. Okay? So repeat after me. Would have taken.
Would have taken.
Would have met.
Would have met.
Would have gone.
Would have gone.
Would have done.
Would have done.
Good. Now let's use could have. Could have taken.
Could have taken.
Could have met.
Could have met.
Could have gone.
Could have gone.
Could have done.
Could have done.
All right. Now let's use should have.
Should have.
Should have taken.
should have taken,
should have met,
should have met,
should have gone,
should have gone,
should have done,
should have done,
might have taken,
might have taken,
might have met,
might have met,
might have gone,
might have gone,
might have done.
might have done.
Perfect. Now let's do the long form. Why not? Let's do the long form. Let's get that in our system as well. Let's do the long form, okay? Would have taken,
Would have taken,
would have met, would have met.
would have met,
It's easier to use the contraction. You see, it just comes out natural. Would have gone,
would have gone,
would have done.
would have done.
Exactly. But you want to use contractions because you want to speak faster. Would have taken, would have met, would have gone, would have done.
Yes,
Your
sir.
turn. Your turn. After me. I
Would
want you to say it like a machine gun. Would have taken, would have met, would have gone, would have done.
Would have taken, would have met, could
Taken,
have
would have
gone,
met, would have gone, would have done.
would have taken, would have met, would have gone, would have done.
Good. Now, if you want to go faster, right, you want to put some nitro into your speaking, you're going to use a reduction. A reduction is different from a contraction. A reduction is making a connection, a liaison. We're going to use the schwa. Basically, we're going to use the schwa. So we're gonna avoid saying would have, the. We're going to substitute that for the schwa. Woulda. So that's the next step. That's the next step. So let's go back to the PowerPoint and let's put the reduction. So instead of saying would have, you're going to say woulda. Instead of saying could have, you're going to say coulda. Instead of should have, you're going to say shoulda. Instead of saying might have, you're going to say mighta. Mighta. Which is basically that A that you see there for the people that don't know. It's the schwa. It's basically a schwa. Woulda. Say it. Woulda.
woulda,
Woulda,
Coulda.
coulda,
Shoulda.
shoulda,
Mighta.
mighta.
And that's just going to make you speak faster. Okay. So let's try with the reduction form this time. And just bear with me. This PowerPoint is a bit, it's acting up a little bit today. All right, there we go. Okay, straighten out. All right, so let's practice with the reduction here. Okay, so for speed, this is for speed. When talking, we're gonna use the reduction. So we're gonna say, would have taken, would have met, would have gone, would have done. Your turn.
would have taken, would have met,
would have gone, would have done.
Could have taken, could have met, could have gone, could have done.
Could have taken, could have met, could have gone, could have done.
Should have taken, should have met, should have done.
Should have taken, should have met, should have gone, should have done.
Good. Might have taken, might have met, might have gone, might have done.
Might have taken, might have met, might have gone, might have done.
Exactly. So there, what you got there is a reduction, which is going to help you speak. I would have taken the bus. I could have met you at the store. I should have gone with you. I might have done my homework. You see what I'm saying? And that's going to be your regular speed. Okay? Are we good?
It's like a reduction for the reduction.
You could say that. Yeah, it's a reduction of the contraction.
Okay.
There you go. But yeah, you can look at it like that. So that would be your affirmative tense. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let me pull up another slide here. Okay, so let's move on to the negative reductions here, contractions and negative reductions. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is what we have. So for the structuring, we're going to have subject, modal verb, not, auxiliary have, plus participle. Let's take a look. So here we have the contracted form. So would not have is reduced to wouldn't have. Could not have is reduced to couldn't have. should not have is reduced to shouldn't have. And might not have is reduced to mightn't have in the contraction. So let's practice first the contraction and then we'll practice the reduction. The reduction is going to be super easy. Instead of nev, you're going to say na. Na. So wouldn't have reduced is going to be wouldna. Couldn't have will be couldna. Shouldn't have will be shouldna. Mightn't have, mightna, with the reduction. So we got new participles here. We have come, had, arrived, and become. Let's practice first the contraction, negative contraction. So repeat after me. Wouldn't have come.
Would not come.
Come.
Wouldn't have had.
Would not have.
Had.
Wouldn't have arrived.
Would
Could
not
not arrive.
arrived.
Wouldn't have become.
Would not
Could not
become.
become.
Good. Couldn't have. Couldn't have.
Couldn't
Couldn't have come.
could
Could
not
not
come.
Couldn't have had.
Could not had.
Had.
Couldn't have arrived.
Could
Could
not
not
arrive.
arrived.
Couldn't have become.
Could
Could
not
not
become.
Good. Now, shouldn't have. Shouldn't have come.
Should not come.
Come.
Shouldn't have had.
Shouldn't
not
had.
Shouldn't have arrived.
Should not
not arrive.
arrived.
Shouldn't have become.
Should
Should
not
not
become.
Come.
Mightn't have.
Magnet.
Enough.
Mightn't have come.
Magnet come.
Come.
Mightn't have had.
Magnet had.
Had.
Mightn't have arrived.
Magnet arrived.
Mightn't have become.
Magnet become.
Okay, now let's use the reduction. The reductions are recommended. They're basically more common. You know, you want the words to flow faster, you're going to use the reduction. We're going to say wouldna, couldna, shouldna, mightna. Let's practice first with wouldna. Repeat after me. Wouldna come.
Would not come.
Wouldna had.
Would not had.
Had.
Wouldna arrived.
Would
Would
not
not
arrived.
Wouldna become.
Would not become.
Now we'll say all the participles without stopping. Would not come, would not had, would not arrived, would not become. Your turn.
Would
Would
not
not
come.
come. Would not had.
Would not
Would
arrive.
not arrive. Would not become.
Good. Could not.
Could not.
One by one. Could not come.
Could not come.
Could not had.
Could not had.
Could not arrived.
Could
Could
not
not
arrived.
Could not become.
Could not become.
Now all together without stopping. Could not come, could not had, could not arrived, and could not become.
Could not come.
Not
Could
come.
not had. Could not arrive. Could not become.
Good. Should not.
Should not.
Individual. Should not come.
Should not come.
Come.
Should not had.
Should not had.
Had.
Should not arrived.
Should not arrived.
Should not become.
Should not become.
Now without stopping for fluency. Should not come, should not had, should not arrived, should not become.
Should not come. Should not had. Should not arrive. Should not become.
Nice. Might not.
Might not.
Right now.
Might not come.
Might not come.
Might not had.
Might not had.
Might not arrived.
Might
not
not arrived.
Might not become.
Might not become.
Now fluency, straightforward. Might not come, might not had, might not arrived, might not become.
Might not come. Might not had. Might not arrive. Might not become.
Exactly. Okay, very good. So perfect. So here you have the reduction for the negative form. And as I said, for the affirmative, the of will be reduced to a, to a schwa sound. A, to the schwa sound.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Awesome possum. Okay, great. So are we good there? All right, perfect.
Yep,
Good. Okay, now let's see if we can go ahead and practice with some sentences. Okay, let's move on and practice with some sentences. We've got some sentences here on the slide. We're going to say them both with the contraction and the reduction. So with the contraction and then the reduction, okay? So for example, you're gonna say it with the contraction. I would have taken longer on the call. Reduction, I could have taken longer on the call. All right, that's how you're gonna say it. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start with Stewie. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's do would've, woulda.
The first one, okay.
Yes.
I could have taken longer on a call. I could have taken longer on a call.
On the call, very good. Now, thank you, Stewie. Nice work. Now let's do could've and coulda. Could've, coulda. All right, Lester, your turn. Could've, coulda.
All right. You could have called me to let me know. You could have called me to let me know.
Excellent. Now let's move on to should've or shoulda. Kathy.
We should take a taxi.
Taken.
We should have taken a taxi.
Taken a taxi. Okay, so we're gonna say we should have taken a taxi.
We should have taken a taxi.
And with reduction?
We should have taken a taxi.
Taken. Nice. Thank you. Now, might have, mighta. Stuart.
He might have gone out for food. He might have gone out for food.
There you go, guys. Nice work. And that's how you do the affirmatives. Okay, so you're either going to hear an American say the contraction or the reduction, but that's what they mean. It's the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on to the negative. Okay, so now let's practice sentences with negative reduced forms, contraction forms of modal verbs. Let's take a look. Okay, so we have the contraction, negative contraction. Wouldn't have, that's reduced to would not. Couldn't have, could not. Shouldn't have, should not. Mightn't have, might not. Okay, let's ask our students for some help. So let's read it both with the contraction and the reduced form. Okay, let's start with Lester. First example.
For sure. Wouldn't have been late. I'm sorry. She wouldn't have been late. She would not have been late.
She would not been late.
She would not been late.
There you go. So that na, that's na sound is going to reduce the not and the have all together.
Okay.
All right.
Would not.
So that little na is going to reduce the not and the have. So you don't need to say would not, right? She wouldn't have been late. 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 You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't have been late. Okay. Let's see now. Next example, couldn't have and could not. Catherine.
It couldn't have been John. He is sick. It could not been John. He is sick.
There you go. Nice. Thank you. Shouldn't have and should not. Let's do Stuart.
Okay. I shouldn't have eaten the special. I should not eaten the special.
Should not eat the special. There you go. And mightn't have and might not. Lester.
All right. They mightn't have seen you. They might not seen you.
They might not have seen you. All right, cool. There you go, guys. So that's going to be the reduction of the negative form contraction and the reduction. Now let's go to your book exercise.